Colby Covington versus Jorge Masvidal.
Colby Covington versus Jorge Masvidal. The American hero, Colby Covington. Yes, coming out. And so my friend Daniel is now just getting into fights. And he texted me earlier in the day. He said, so how do you think the fight's going to go? I said, look, dude, Colby Covington has one of the best gas tanks in all of MMA. It's going to be nonstop pressure. He's going to try to grind Masvidal out. And the reality is that Masvidal, when he has his highlight knockouts, has looked pretty good in his highlight knockouts.
Yeah.
If you remember when he was going up against Nate and he beat Nate, he was starting to slow down a little bit.
Yeah,
by the time that fight was stopped. But I just didn't think he'd be able to keep up with Colby Covington the entire night.
I remember when they announced this fight, it was like, I think we both texted and we were like, well, this is a pretty easy night for Colby. Stylistically, a nightmare matchup for Jorge. What is Jorge? What's his biggest weakness? The wrestling. What's his second biggest weakness? Cardio. The two things Colby excels at.
His strengths.
Yeah, and Jorge needs space, and Colby doesn't give people space. And you can see Jorge had some success. I mean, he did land some good shots. He dropped him right in the fourth round. I think he dropped him.
With the right hook.
Yeah, and it was off the space, right? But Colby always does such a good job of recovering whenever he does get dropped. But I mean,
Usman.
Yeah, and but stylistically, when they first announced this, pretty much everybody that I heard talking about this fight was like, "Well, Colby's just going to smother him. He's not going to give him any space." And then everyone was like, "Yeah, but Jorge could land that flying knee like he did against wrestling Ben Askren." It's like, well, not every wrestler is the same, you know.
Yeah.
Colby's not shooting from 20 yards out, you know.
No, absolutely. And the thing is that, you know what, we take a look at Ben Askren and compare him to Colby Covington. Colby Covington looks like, you know, one of the best strikers in MMA compared to Ben Askren. So where Ben Askren will force the takedown, even if he has to shoot from a distance, Colby Covington doesn't mind mixing it up a little bit to be able to close that distance. He'll blitz in a little bit. That first picture that Rich showed where he's throwing that left hand, he's not throwing those hands to try to knock out Masvidal.
No.
He's throwing those hands to be able to close that distance, clinch him up against the fence, and see how it is that he'd be able to take him down. And that's exactly what he did.
Yeah, and not even just that. It's even more like multifaceted than that, because everyone says like, oh, you got to set up the takedown with the hands. You got to set up the takedown with the hands. He does that, but what he also does is he'll stand with you just long enough until you think, okay, yeah, let's start trading, and then he's under you. And he does it so well. And I hate to say it because I'm not a huge fan of his like personality and stuff. I like and I know the personality is to make people not a big fan of him, right? And want to watch him lose. But at the same time, it works. But like, fuck, maybe he is that much of a genius because the character is terrible. It's a really bad, like, not just terrible, like, oh, I don't like what he says. It's terrible, like, really poorly done. But maybe that's on purpose.
That's
also
part of it,
like,
though.
It's just like, it's just so transparent, you know, like it's such bullshit that it's like, come on, man, give me a little respect, you know. but it works. And lately he's been having more exciting fights, but I think that just comes with him actually having to face people who can throw something back at him, right? Because the majority of his wins have been pretty lackluster as far as like rewatch value goes. Unless he's fighting
and not to any fault of his own.
No. If it was me, I don't give a fuck if all my fights are boring as long as I'm dominating. Like, I don't want to get hit, you know. But yeah,
right. Who he gets paired with has a lot to do with how exciting the fight is.
Yeah, and I wish he was getting paired with more wrestlers. I would love to see him fight some more wrestlers,
like Usman.
Well, because that's what happens, right? The two wrestlers fight, they cancel out, and they start swinging and banging with their like somewhat striking technique, you know?
Yeah.
Until Usman starts becoming an elite striker with Trevor Whitman, and then all of a sudden it's not even close.
For sure.
But no, I don't know what Colby does from here.
He continues being the second best welterweight in the world. He's in such a tough position, man. You know what I mean?
Because Khamzat versus Gilbert, and then we decide who the real second best is.
Oh, that's exciting. Yeah. What do you think happens there? Khamzat takes it.
My brain tells me Gilbert, but my heart tells me Khamzat.
And man, if that happens and it ends up being Hamza versus Colby Covington. Now, Colby Covington called out Dustin Poirier uh, at the end, right? Which we'll see if that ends up happening or not. Dustin's
It's
been
not going to
talking about
happen.
going up a weight class. Well, we'll see. Who knows? Because at this point, I think
Du-
Dustin's also just looking to make some paychecks.
Yeah, but Dustin's said multiple times now that he will never let Colby capitalize on what Dustin's accomplished in his career, and he's like, I'll fight him anywhere but the cage. I'll never let him use my platform as like a way to like make more money.
Mm.
And even Colby calls him out, and he's like, and Dustin tweeted, he was like, how about calling out like a welterweight contender? What did
Oh man.
HLB Comer say? All props
Well,
to
HLB
Masvidal.
talking about he took the
All
fight
props
and
to
he must have
Masvidal.
known.
Yeah, go
Go
ahead.
ahead. No, you go ahead.
He took the fight and he must have known how it will go. If I was his manager, I would have pushed for the Leon fight instead. Anyway, he got to show and respect. Yeah, we got to show and respect both the guys. Yeah, definitely. I mean, and Colby kind of said it when Colby won his last fight or finished his last fight. He even said like Jorge, I don't know what Jorge's doing fighting Leon. He should just fake an injury and then take a fight with me, and then and then make way more money. Very short sighted with that, and then that's kind of what happened, right? Masvidal had to pull out of the Leon fight, and then they end up making this fight, and it's like, wait, what just happened here? If I were, I think HLB Comer hits the nail on the head. If I'm Masvidal's manager, that's the fight you make because stylistically, Leon is a much more winnable fight than Masvidal, and the Colby fight will always be there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? The Colby fight, because at this point they've both lost to the champ twice. Um, when he loses this fight to Colby, it's kind of hard to throw him in the mix with someone like Leon, rankings wise, in my opinion. But if he fought Leon and he lost to Leon, the Colby fight's still there. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, absolutely makes sense. So, all right, I'm gonna say this. I think Jorge Masvidal is overrated. I really do. I think that he
Yeah,
was lightning in a bottle. Let's take a look at his wins recently. So the Darren Till win, we still don't know if we're ever gonna get Darren Till that reaches his full potential.
yeah.
I still don't know. Not to say that he's not a good fighter, but that was a good win for Jorge
Oh yeah,
Masvidal coming back,
definitely.
right? Not taking that away from him. Ben Askren. Ben Askren is who we thought he was. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Nate Diaz. Nate Diaz around nearing the end of his career. Okay, we
and
could say it's
and
not the
a
same
weight
Nate
class
Diaz.
above where he should be.
Yes. So he caught lightning in a bottle, and props to him for
Yeah.
being able to capitalize on
Mhm.
those fights and the way that he won those fights. I mean, the knockout against Ben Askren just shot him right into stardom.
Oh yeah,
Everybody
as
was
it should
talking
have.
about that. It was mainstream, right?
Mhm.
And then he comes back and he fights the more than ever popular Nate Diaz and beats Nate
Yeah.
Diaz. So then
Even more
the
popular.
BMF, and all that other stuff, the way they built it up, so even more hype. And then I think about, okay, well, let's take a look at the welterweight division. Jorge Masvidal is ranked 6th. Does he beat a Bilal Muhammad?
Yes,
You think he could beat a Bilal Muhammad?
I think so.
I don't think so. That's me personally. I don't think he could beat Bilal
Yeah.
Muhammad because it's very similar to Colby's style.
Yeah,
Extremely high cardio,
but you look at what
nonstop in your
Leon did
face
to
pressure.
But you look at what Leon did to Bilal. Like Bilal does that to people who will crumble in the striking and give up that range. I don't think Jorge would to someone like Bilal.
I think Leon's a more winnable fight than
Stylistically, it's a much better chance. I don't think he beats him
yes,
though.
than Colby Covington. And that's the same thing. I don't think he beats him. So I
Yeah.
don't want to use that MMA math. You know what I
No, no,
mean?
no. I'm not. Yeah, but you look at Vicente Luque, Bilal Muhammad. Those are both winnable fights, I think, for Jorge. The
I still
problem
don't
is
think he
when
beats
you
Vicente
start mixing.
Luque.
You don't think so?
I don't think he beats Vicente Luque. And
That's a toss
again,
up for me.
I'm just and now granted, he lost twice to Kamaru Usman, who is the
Well, see,
best
that's
welterweight in the world and the number one pound for pound fighter. Loses
yeah,
to Colby Covington. So he's losing to the top of the top, the cream of the
best.
crop.
Hmm.
Also lost to Stephen Thompson before that.
Yeah,
Also lost to
and
Damian Maya before that.
we were
Which,
there
by
for
the
that,
way,
right?
we saw that live. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was Miocic versus Dos Santos too.
But here's the thing
Um,
too with Masvidal, like, and it goes back to what HLB Comer said. The management, he shouldn't have taken the rematch with Usman. Even with hindsight being 2020, right? You got knocked out, bad move, but it leaves you nowhere to come back to. and stylistically, he's not going to win those fights against an elite pressure wrestler, an elite pressure grappler. That's why I think Colby, Usman, and even Gilbert Burns are terrible matchups for him. But Leon, much better matchup. I don't think he wins it. I think Leon's too quick and straight, but it's still a great matchup. Someone like,
but he could
I
still
think,
get caught. I mean, because it's the exact
oh
same
yeah,
reason that we said we don't think Nate Diaz is going to beat Leon Edwards, and he ended up getting caught at the end.
true.
But
Anything can happen, right? But if they fought 10
hey,
times, I think Leon beats
crazy
most of
things
them.
happen.
Yeah.
I agree. I
I,
agree.
I just think they kind of halted his hype train, came to a screeching halt with that first Usman fight. They decided to do it twice, and then now Colby, and now it's 3 in a row to very similar styles, right? Usman and Colby. But yeah, I do agree that Jorge's a little bit overrated. Yeah, it's tough.
And yeah, we have HLB come through and saying Masvidal has a clear weakness on the ground. Remember his fight with Maya? Yeah, like we said, we were there live for that one. Essentially,
Yeah,
Maya was a backpack the
yeah,
entire fight. But Maya did walk away from that fight saying that Masvidal was the best MMA grappler he had ever faced.
oh yeah,
So I don't know.
yeah. And
Take what you
Comer makes
want
a
from
good
that.
point here too. He is 37 years old, and he is making a lot of money. He just signed a very lucrative deal. Which, to be fair, if I'm his manager, maybe it was smart to take this Colby fight because I don't know if he can renegotiate to get one of the most lucrative combat sports contracts in history without this Colby fight like building, right? Because it was in the buildup for that fight that he signs this contract. If he was fighting somebody else and there's not that buildup with the grudge match and all this stuff, does he get that same deal? I don't know. Probably not.
Probably not. And he probably wouldn't have an opportunity later on down the road to continue facing your top threes. If he fights a
Yeah,
Leon Edwards, and then he loses. If he fights a Bilal Muhammad and then he loses, and he's going to continue going down the ranks, then those
yeah,
options are gone.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So, all right. Anything else on the main event?
Um, it was a cool fight. I just don't really know like outside of outside of the drama and the storyline and all that stuff, I don't really see like sport wise why it happened. You know, um,
It was purely entertainment.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
it's like you said, it's the build up, the drama. You know what I mean? And they're
hmm
like, "Oh snaps, we're gonna have to move Volkanovski over to my
yeah.
card." And Max Holloway. Oh snaps, Aljamain Sterling
We're gonna have to
versus
move
Petr
that
Yan. We're
too.
gonna have to move that too. You know what?
Yeah,
There's a lot of drama here. Let's go ahead and push this fight. It's a
hmm
non-title fight, main event. How often do we get to do this? Let's take advantage of it. And if you think about it, some of the
Oh,
most recent ones have both been with Jorge Masvidal.
yeah, it's true. And I just want to say this too. Uh, I forgot. I can't believe we never even mentioned it.
What?
How about ESPN feed going down during the main event?
Did it?
What stream were you watching? Was it BT Sport?
No. I
Dude,
uh
after
I paid for it, Will.
dude, after the groin strike that Colby landed, uh, after the groin strike, the feed went down, and it was like ESPN's experiencing technical difficulties. It wasn't my stream; it was the actual feed from ESPN. Then I switched to
Really?
BT Sport, and it was still going. Then I switched back, and it was like ESPN experiencing technical difficulties. Go on Reddit, a bunch of people were like, "What the fuck, ESPN? You pay $100 for a pay per view, and it goes down in the middle of the main event?
Oh my god. What a
Crazy."
nightmare. What a nightmare. They'll get it right eventually. I mean, ESPN's a newer network that's just figuring it out. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, it's small time.
small
Uh,
time, small time.
the other thing too is first round, Colby eye pokes him, gets the takedown while Masvidal's complaining, right? Second round, groin strike, complains about it, and then whatever, right? That was just two fouls in the main card or the main event. Was this the most fouls in one card top to bottom? This might have been the dirtiest card I've ever seen.
Yeah. There's
It
a
was
few
pretty
things
bad.
that I have notated as well to
It's
cover
pretty
about some of
bad.
those things. And our friends from Ford to Win MMA saying, cool fight, nice promo pivot for Colby. And that, I mean, yeah, he has an opportunity to, walk out of there saying, didn't even break a sweat. Easy money. This is
Yeah,
who I want to fight next.
got
And
dropped.
yeah, exactly. Whether it's calling out Dustin, whoever it is, it's an opportunity for him
Terrible
to
card.
walk away from another main event with
Yeah.
another victory, being the All-American hero, calling out the troops, the first responders. Colby Covington, All-American hero. Let's do it. Let's go.
But at the same time, I mean, the call out of Dustin is just such a wasted opportunity. And then it's almost like the signs or the writings on the wall of like what's really left, right? Because he's never going to beat Usman. I doubt he ever gets a third title shot. And then he's calling out lightweights who aren't going to fight him. Like HW Comer said, Dustin won't fight him.
Yep.
Yeah. And shout out HW Comer. There was even a female cross strike. It was,
Yeah,
it was the
dirtiest,
dirtiest card I've ever seen. So
All right.
much cheating, so many fouls. It was crazy.
Are you done slandering Colby Covington's name, Will?
Yeah, he can lose my number.
All right. Hey, everybody. Romero and Will here. Thank you so much for watching that short clip. It's just a small clip of what we covered this last Sunday.
Yeah, if you want to check out the full fight card recap, the link is in the description, and it's going to be on screen at the end here. Don't forget to go back and watch our fighter interviews that we have. And don't forget to tune in live every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern, and you can join in on the fun.
Yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. It goes a long way. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching that short clip from Story of the Fight.